Hi guys, and welcome back to our tutorial series for our RPG inventory. And I just apologize, in the last video I got a couple of junky when I was pressing play. I didn't notice that it was very junky the frame rates when I was pressing play, and I realized that for some reason my recorder does not like when I press when I start to play on the new window. For some reason it gets very late, so I'm just gonna be playing on the selected viewport for now. Right, so in the last video we have set up this, which is our inventory display items thing, which is really cool. And in this video we're gonna be actually, I think it's gonna be a short one, but we're gonna be, as you go to the item, it will add the item to your inventory and display in the log. We're not gonna be doing anything to drag and drop items yet. We're gonna be doing this in the following steps. Right. So let's go back here to our blueprints here, to content, main, UI. I'm gonna create another folder here, and I'm gonna call the item log. Right? It's really nice to keep organize your UI as well, because these things can get very messy. Right. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead inside here. I'm gonna open up the inventory. Right. I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna go to user interface and create another widget blueprint interface. I am gonna call this, I'm gonna use user blueprint interface, I'm gonna call WBP item log, or log item display. Yeah, so we know that what that means. Right, what I'm gonna be doing here, I'm just gonna delete those boxes in there. I'm gonna copy that, this. I'm gonna open up this, and I am where it's saying the name here. I'm just gonna press paste. There we go. I know it's gonna look weird here for now, but don't worry, we will set this up in a minute. We can always, as well, you can you have you can set up the screen size in there, so it doesn't look weird on yours. So yeah. But we can always do that as well in here. But this doesn't really matter right now. What we're gonna do here is just gonna mark so it fits the whole screen. We don't care about this yet. The only thing we're gonna have to do here is to actually do things like set up names and title. Right. So the idea, guys, is that we delete this here, that we don't have anything in this box. We only have the box, but as we need, we add those items and we log those items on the box, right? So to do that, we have created this item display here, and we need to change the image, the text, and how much we have in stock, right? So let's make sure the icon is marked as a variable. The item name is also marked as a variable, and the item quantity is also marked as a variable, right? And then all we're gonna do here is on the event construct. So when it comes to inventory widget, you have something called pre-construct, and then you have something called construct. So they're very similar, but this one executes before that. Sometimes you may need to do this. For our case scenario, I'm just gonna probably using the event construct. We probably don't need that. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna get the icon, I'm gonna get the name, and I'm gonna get the quantity. Right. So icons, they are images in there, so they are image thing. So how we actually change the image? So if you go back in here on the icon, we can call a node called set texture from texture, right? And I'm gonna hook this up here for now. And the item name, we want to change the name here, right? So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna set text to whatever, and the same thing, the same node for the quantity. For the quantity, we're gonna have to do a couple of different things in there, because we want to add an X and a kind of formattation somehow, right? What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create a literal text, can I append stuff, Not sure if I can add nodes. Probably not. Right. So for the just for the item here, right? I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna call a node called make literal string, right? And I'm gonna hook this up here so that it can convert string to text. And the reason why I create a literal string is because I can call something append, right? So I can append stuff to this. So the append will basically, I'm gonna add another ping. So I'm gonna have x space 10 or 13. So this is actually, we're gonna set the number. Right, and right now we have to pass a couple of items in here somehow, right? So the easiest way to do this is I'm gonna create another variable. I'm gonna call the item ref, and I'm gonna pass the whole item reference. So it's gonna be st item item structure. So this is the reference of the item structure. Make sure you mark expose and spawn. So when we spawn this widget, we can actually access that. I'm gonna drag and drop this guy here, and I am gonna call a node in there called break st items. If you click in this little arrow there, it displays all the possible variables we have. So the icon we wish to set up here is just that. The name is gonna be here, and the description, don't need that yet, and we don't have how many items we are adding. So what we can actually do here is create another variable and items to add or remove. Actually, I'm gonna just call items quantity because this can mean remove and add. So this is gonna be an integer. Make sure it's public. Also make sure is expose and spawn. We're gonna add a default value of 0 just in case. I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna hook it up in here, right? There you go. I'm just gonna hide and comment stuff and start the item log, right? So right now, what we're doing here is we're telling the engine that on event construct of this component, let me just put this to custom for now. We're gonna set the wood icon, we're gonna set the item name and the quantity to whatever things we got in here. Yeah. Now, of course, that we have to pass those through, but we will make sure that we can actually add that in a minute. Right. So right now on the inventory here, we need to find a way to actually add items in here, right? So we don't really know how to do that, but that's fine. Let's do that. So click on the items log here. I'm just gonna make sure that's a variable so we can actually access properties and things like that. Compile and save. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go to the graph, and in the graph, we're gonna create an event that will do that for us. All right. There's also one more thing as well that I want to do here is I just want to make sure we have a delay of, let's say, 5 seconds, and then after we're going to call a node here called remove from parent, and now we'll explain you what it does in a second. So in here we got that box selected, make sure it's a variable. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get this, and we're gonna create an event here called I'm gonna just create a custom event, and we're gonna call add item log, right? Nice, that's cool. Right, so add item log. So I'm gonna create here one parameter, two parameters actually, which will be the item to log and the item quantity. And also I'm going to create another one here, which is going to be is adding, because you can be adding and removing, and if you're adding or removing, you may want to make sure that that's, you know, is red or not the item, right? So the item to log is going to be item st item here. Sorry, it's st item items. There we go. Item quantity is going to be an integer, and this is we can leave as a boolean for now. Right, for now we're not going to be worrying about this too much. This is going to be more for the future. But so how do we actually add an item inside here? So we kind of have to instantiate this and add inside a children. So it's very easy to do. It's not very complicated. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add children, a child or whatever, here. And it's going to ask for a content. What do you want to add here as a children? So what I'm going to be doing here is we're going to create a widget. Create widget. The widget we want to create is this. Yeah, the log item display. The one we just created. So I'm going to select that and paste it in here, or you can come in here and just search for WBP and then you select that. But we just have two, so that's easy to find. Right. This guy here asks for two parameters for now. The item and the quantity, how much you want to display. And it returns a construct, which is basically telling the reference of the objects that we can put in here, the content we want to add as a children. And right now I'm going to comment this and say display the log item we have added or remove in the log box. Right. Put it in here, compile and save. Right now we have one last problem, that if you press play and you come in here, nothing is happening, because we still have to trigger that logic to say, oh, the actor has used the item or whatever has happened. Nice. So the way we're actually gonna do this is that in here, let's compile and save. We have a method in here which is called, let me see where they do that. Right. Let me go back here to the content. Let's go to the player character and let's see what we actually did in that. So in here we have something called start player interaction on objects in here, right? So this is interaction on the inventory, right? So that is the interaction on the BPC inventory.